My name is Bethany. I'm 31 years old, a single mom to my 5-year-old daughter Ella, and the first lawyer in my entire family. I always pictured that on the day I heard someone announce Bethany Clark, Juris Doctor, into a microphone at the University of Nevada in Reno, my parents would be front row beaming with pride. I thought earning that JD degree, a cap gown, and 7 grueling years of late nights, case studies, mock trials, and questioning every choice would finally make me the one they couldn't overlook. I was dead wrong. My dad didn't forget my graduation. He skipped it deliberately. They picked my brother's backyard barbecue in Sparks over seeing me walk that stage for my law degree. And my Aunt She shot me a text that cut deep. Don't be dramatic. In that instant, everything shattered in a way I couldn't fix. My dad chose my brother's BBQ over my JD. Aunt said, "Don't be dramatic." So I changed my name and never came back. And that decision flipped my world upside down. What came next wasn't some emotional outburst. It was deliberate, precise, and irreversible. Lawyers forms a new last name and a ripple effect that painted my parents as the antagonists in a tale they never saw coming. Now they claim I tore the family apart. But as they grilled steaks and laughed while I stood alone on that stage, they didn't care they were tearing me down. Before I dive into what my dad said on that call and how vanishing and renaming myself shattered my family, hit me with this. What's the biggest milestone your family blew off for something trivial, and how did it make you feel? Drop it in the comments. I want to know how widespread stories like choosing yourself and your kid over toxic ties really are. 3 years ago on graduation morning, I woke up before my alarm in my small apartment in Reno, heart racing, like it was sprinting toward a finish line I wasn't sure I'd reach. For a split second, I lay there in the dim light, staring at the ceiling fan spinning lazily, trying to convince myself this was just another day. But it wasn't. This was the culmination of 7 years undergrad law school, endless briefs, internships that paid in coffee, and stress bar exam prep that left me with dark circles and doubt. Today, I'd hear my name called as Bethany Clark, Juris Doctor, in the big auditorium at the University of Nevada. In my mind, I'd replayed that scene countless times. Every version featured the same elements: mom in the front row wiping her eyes with a tissue she'd pulled from her purse, dad snapping photos on his old phone, zooming in awkwardly and chopping off half my cap, both of them jumping up first when my name echoed through the speakers. My brother pretending to be bored but later telling his friends about his sister, the lawyer. That vision kept me going through the nights I studied while rocking Ella to sleep, her tiny hands clutching my shirt as I balanced a textbook on my knee. I whispered to myself during those exhausting hours, "They'll show up when it matters. They have to." I got up carefully, not wanting to wake Ella, who was 2 then, and sleeping in her crib next to my bed. Her little chest rose and fell, steadily curls splayed across the pillow, oblivious to the weight of this day. I tiptoed to the bathroom, showered quickly, and slipped into the crisp white blouse I'd ironed the night before. The black gown hung on the closet door, still zipped in its plastic bag from the rental shop. I unzipped it slowly, the fabric rustling like a promise. Slipping it on felt ceremonial, like donning armor for a battle I'd already won. I adjusted the sleeves, smoothed the front, and pinned the cap securely. The tassel dangled just right, gold against black. Stepping back from the mirror, I tried to see myself as they might: first lawyer in the family, the one who pushed through despite everything. I'd even customized the top of my cap with careful lettering in silver marker: first lawyer in the family. It was meant to be lighthearted, a nod to our roots. Something that might make them chuckle and post about later. But staring at it now, it felt more like a challenge. First lawyer in the family, do they even notice? Before doubt could creep in further, I checked the time. The ceremony started at 11, but seating opened early. If they left soon from their house on the edge of Reno, they'd snag good spots. I imagined them already in the car, dad grumbling about traffic on I-80, mom fiddling with the radio. Relief washed over me as I dialed his number. The phone rang twice before he picked up. Hey, Dad, you guys heading out? If you beat the rush, you'll get seats up front. They said the auditorium fills fast. His voice came through casual but edged with something off. Sweetheart, hold on. There was a pause, muffled sounds like he was covering the mouthpiece. Then Mom's voice in the background, quick and light. He cleared his throat. Listen, we got the dates mixed up. My stomach dropped. What? He rushed on. Your brother's barbecue is today. We invited everyone, family, his business contacts. Tons of food prepped. I've been marinating ribs since last night. It's a big deal for Vincent's networking clients coming from all over Sparks. Can't cancel now, it'd look bad. I stared at the wall, processing. You're not coming to my graduation, my JD ceremony at the University of Nevada. Silence stretched. Then he sighed, that familiar sound he used when he thought I was overcomplicating things. We'll make it up to you. Nice dinner next weekend. Dress up photos with your diploma. Post them online. Same difference. This way Vincent doesn't lose face with his partners. My hand tightened on the phone. It's not the same. This is 7 years classes, clinics, the bar exam I barely passed while raising Ella alone. This is the day you show up for me. Shuffling noises, then Mom took the line. Bethany, we're proud, really. But it's just a walk across a stage. You did the hard part already. Support means being there for the family when it counts. Dad jumped back in. You know how much effort went into this barbecue. Vincent's built his whole client base on these events. People expect us. Can't ditch them to sit in a crowd hearing names we don't know. Celebrate properly later. Don't make a big deal out of it. That phrase, don't make a big deal, hit like a slap. I'd heard variations my whole life when they bailed on my high school debate finals for Vincent's soccer game, when they forgot parent-teacher night because he needed help with a project, when they skipped my undergrad ceremony for his promotion party. It was their go-to dismissal for any hurt I voiced. Something inside me went quiet, a still resolve forming. My gown felt heavier suddenly, the cap on the dresser mocking me. Okay, I said flatly, voice not my own. Enjoy the barbecue, Mom chirped back. We'll celebrate soon. Send pictures from the stage, we want to see you shine. I hung up phone, still warm in my palm, listening to the silence. Ella stirred in her crib, murmuring softly. I glanced at her, innocent in sleep, and wondered if I'd ever let her feel this invisible. For a moment I considered skipping the whole thing, stripping off the gown, curling up with her instead. But no. If I didn't go, they'd spin it as me being too sensitive, too unreliable. So I went. I kissed Ella's forehead, called Marcia to babysit last minute, and headed out alone. My voice rose as I processed his words. Dad, this isn't some casual event. It's my JD graduation, the one I've sacrificed everything for, including time with Ella. You know how hard it's been juggling law school and motherhood alone. He made a frustrated noise, like I was the one complicating a simple schedule. Bethany, calm down. We're proud of what you've done, but family comes first. Vincent's barbecue is key for his deals. Clients from Reno and beyond are showing up. We've committed. It's rude to back out now. Mom's voice filtered through again, supportive but firm. Lois here. Sweetie will throw a party for you later. Dress up, invite friends, make it special. This keeps peace with everyone. My chest tightened, anger mixing with disbelief. Ella shifted in her crib, letting out a small whimper that turned into a cry as the tension in my tone woke her. I scooped her up automatically, bouncing her gently while holding the phone. Peace. This is the one day that's about me. Day. 7 years of briefs, exams, internships, barely seeing you because I was grinding through it all. And now you're choosing ribs and networking over my walk across the stage at the University of Nevada. Dad's tone hardened. Don't twist this. We supported you, helped with rent when you needed it, watched Ella a few times. But life's about balance. Vincent's business keeps the family afloat in ways your degree hasn't yet. We'll cheer for you next week. Stop making it dramatic. That word hung in the air, but before I could respond, my phone buzzed with a text. I glanced down while patting Ella's back, her tears soaking my shoulder. It was from Aunt Doris. Heard about the mix-up. Don't be dramatic, Bethany. Family events matter too. See you at the barbecue. The message stung her dismissal, echoing the family's pattern of minimizing my milestones. Ella's cries grew louder, mirroring the chaos in my head. I switched the phone to speaker, setting it down to comfort her fully. Dad, Mom, do you hear that? That's your granddaughter waking up because I'm upset. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about showing her what support looks like. Mom sighed. We're sorry it conflicts, but commitments are commitments. Vincent invited important people. His firm's growth depends on these gatherings and sparks. We'll frame your diploma nicely at home. I paced the room, Ella calming slightly against my chest. Conflicts, you created this one. I sent reminders weeks ago. This is deliberate. Dad interrupted. Enough. You're overreacting as usual. We love you, but drama won't change plans. Have a good ceremony, send videos. The line went dead, leaving me in stunned quiet, broken only by Ella's soft hiccups. I rocked her, whispering apologies. She couldn't understand my mind reeling. Aunt Doris's text glared from the screen, her words a fresh wound. Part of me wanted to call back, scream the hurt I'd buried for years, the missed mock trials, the ignored bar results announcements, always second to Vincent's achievements. But rage gave way to a cold clarity. If they could dismiss this, they'd dismiss anything, even involving Ella in the future. I couldn't let that pattern touch her. Wiping my face, I texted Marcia. Emergency. Can you watch Ella for a few hours? Graduation mess. Her reply came fast. On my way. Hang in there. I changed Ella into fresh clothes, packed a quick bag with her toys and snacks, and waited by the window. When Marcia arrived, knocking softly, I handed Ella over with a forced smile. Thanks for this. I owe you. She hugged me briefly. Go get that degree. Text if you need anything. Ella waved bye-bye, oblivious, as Marcia carried her out. Alone again, I grabbed my keys, adjusted my cap one last time, and stepped into the hallway. The drive to the University of Nevada felt endless, traffic on Virginia Street crawling as families headed the same way. I parked in the lot near Mackay Stadium, surrounded by cars decked in balloons and signs saying, "Congrats grad group," spilled out, laughing, carrying bouquets and posters. Dads in ties, moms in sundresses, siblings with cameras, normal scenes that twisted the knife deeper. As I walked toward the auditorium, the joy around me amplified my isolation. Strangers' cheers, a stark reminder of what I lacked. The building loomed ahead, banners fluttering in the Nevada breeze, promising celebration for those with people to share it. Inside the auditorium at the University of Nevada, the air buzzed with anticipation. Cheers echoed off the high ceilings, babies fussed in carriers, and the band played an upbeat tune that clashed with my hollow mood. I navigated the rows to my assigned seat in the graduate section, the gown swishing against my legs. The chairs beside mine had small reserved signs taped on, meant for Mom and Dad. I left them there, unable to rip them off just yet. Sinking into my spot, I scanned the crowd filling up. Families clustered together, waving at their grads below, phones flashing early photos. A father in a cowboy hat held a sign saying, "Proud of our Esquire." A group of siblings chanted a name, drawing laughs, but the seats next to me stayed empty, a glaring void amid the sea of support. When the dean instructed us to stand and turn to acknowledge our families, arms shot up everywhere. Shouts rang out, cameras clicked in a frenzy. I turned with the others, eyes locking on the spot where my parents should have been. Instead, strangers filled it, a young couple sharing popcorn, an elderly man adjusting his glasses, a kid with a tablet. No one waved back at me. I raised my hand halfway, then let it fall. The gesture felt pointless, unnoticed. The ceremony dragged on a rhythm of names and applause. Each graduate who crossed the stage triggered eruptions from their sections, whistles, air horns, standing ovations. It wasn't envy that stung me. It was the proof of what I'd always suspected. This was how it looked when people cared enough to be present. My phone vibrated in my pocket during a quiet moment. I slipped it out discreetly. A message from my brother, a photo of the barbecue setup in sparks. Smoke rose from the grill plate, stacked high, people milling around with drinks. In the background, Dad manned the tongs, Mom carried a tray of sides. They looked at ease, engaged exactly where they wanted to be. The caption, "Missing you here," with a grill emoji. The timestamp matched the exact minute my row lined up for the stage. I shoved the phone away throat tight as the announcer called names closer to mine. When it was my turn, Bethany Clark, Juris Doctor. I stepped into the spotlight, forcing a smile that strained my face. I shook the dean's hand, gripped the diploma tube, posed as instructed. A camera swept the audience, hunting for proud reactions to display on the big screen. It found none for me. Graduates poured into the courtyard afterward, engulfed by hugs and congratulations. Flowers bloomed everywhere, confetti scattered on the grass, tears mixed with laughter. I lingered on the edge, diploma in hand, pretending to check emails to avoid looking abandoned. Marcia spotted me from across the way, weaving through the crowd. "You did it," she said, pulling me into a quick embrace. "Let me get some shots of you." I handed her my phone, standing by the university fountain with the Nevada sun glinting off the water. She snapped several adjusting angles to capture the cap's lettering. "Smile bigger, you earned this." Handing it back, she added softly, "Their loss, Bethany. Truly." I nodded, fighting the lump in my throat as she headed off to her own plans. Alone again, I scrolled to the photo Vincent sent. Zooming in on my parents' faces, their relaxed expressions confirmed it. This wasn't a mix-up. It was a choice, one that echoed every overlooked achievement in my life. The barbecue in Sparks, with its business mingling and casual vibes, trumped my hard-won degree. As the courtyard emptied, that realization settled like a weight, sharpening my resolve for what lay ahead. The rows ahead of me emptied slowly as names were called in alphabetical order. I watched classmates stride confidently, their sections exploding with noise. One woman had her whole family on their feet, holding banners with her name in glitter. Another guy got a roar from what looked like his entire fraternity. Each burst of celebration snapped against my heart, reinforcing the absence. The reserved signs on the empty chairs seemed to mock me now, a reminder of the invitations I'd sent months ago, the reminders I'd texted. But here I was, solo in a sea of connections. The dean's voice boomed again, pulling me back. My row stood shuffling toward the stage steps. Adrenaline surged, despite everything, my hands clammy on the diploma tube. As I ascended, the lights blinded me momentarily, the audience a blur. The handshake was firm, the congratulations sincere from the dean. I flipped the tassel, the motion mechanical. Descending the other side, I clutched the document that represented years of effort, but the victory tasted bitter without witnesses. In the courtyard, the energy shifted to pure joy. Groups posed for photos, popping champagne corks, kids running around with balloons. I found a quiet bench near the edge, scrolling through my phone to kill time. The photo from Vincent popped up again in notifications. Someone had liked it on his story. I studied it closer. Dad flipping burgers with focus, Mom chatting with guests, laughter frozen in pixels. The timestamp burned right as I walked. It solidified the priority, Vincent's networking over my accomplishment. Marcia's texts came, and then photos she'd snapped. I selected one, the fountain background, me holding the diploma, and posted it with the caption, "First lawyer in the family. Family at the barbecue in Sparks." Likes trickled from classmates, professors, but nothing from home. The silence spoke volumes, confirming the divide. As people dispersed, I stood, diploma under arm, the weight of the day pressing down. The Nevada heat waved off the pavement, but inside a cold determination grew. Leaving the courtyard behind, I gripped the steering wheel tightly on the drive back to Reno, the diploma tube rolling slightly on the passenger seat. The Nevada landscape blurred past sagebrush and distant mountains under a clear sky, but my thoughts stayed sharp, replaying the empty seats and Vincent's photo. Traffic on the highway thinned as I approached home, the familiar streets offering no comfort. Pulling into my apartment complex, I spotted Marcia's car still parked outside. She opened the door before I knocked Ella balanced on her hip. "How'd it go?" she asked, scanning my face. I mustered a nod. "Got it done." Ella reached for me, babbling excitedly. I took her, burying my face in her hair for a moment, inhaling the baby shampoo scent that grounded me. "Thanks again, Marcia. You're a lifesaver." She waved it off. "Anytime. Call if you need to talk." As she left, Ella tugged at my gown's tassel, giggling. I set her down in the living room, toys scattered from their playtime, and peeled off the cap and gown, hanging them over a chair like relics from a different life. The apartment felt too quiet, Ella's chatter the only sound as I fixed her a snack. She munched on apple slices, happily unaware of the storm inside me. I avoided mirrors, not wanting to see the forced smile I'd worn all morning crack. But as she played with her blocks, stacking them precariously, the dam broke. Tears came silently at first, then in waves I stifled to keep from scaring her. I stepped into the kitchen, leaning against the counter, shoulders shaking. The emptiness hit hard, not just the auditorium, but years of it. Why chase approval that never came? Ella called out, "Mama," pulling me back. I wiped my eyes, returned with a grin. "I'm here, sweetie." We built towers together, her laughter a temporary balm, but the ache lingered. Later, with her napping in her room, I opened my phone to the photos Marcia had taken. One stood out me by the fountain diploma, raised sun catching the cap's lettering. No family in frame, just me. I uploaded it to social media, fingers hovering over the caption before typing. "First lawyer in the family. Family at the barbecue in Sparks." No emojis, no filters, just the truth. Notifications pinged from friends and classmates, congrats emojis. "So proud," comments, a few professors liking it. But as minutes turned to hours, nothing from home. No, "we're sorry," from mom. No thumbs up from dad, not even a view from Vincent's account. The silence amplified the rejection, turning hurt into something sharper. With Ella still asleep, I rummaged through my closet, pulling out an old storage bin tucked in the back. Dust coated the lid, untouched since the move after law school. Inside lay mementos, faded report cards, a pressed flower from undergrad, and at the bottom a bundle of letters tied with string. They were from my grandfather, Leonard Curtis, Mom's dad, gone 5 years now. He'd been the quiet constant, sending notes during my toughest semesters, slipping $20 bills inside with encouragements like, "Keep fighting, kid. You're more than they see." One envelope caught my eye, postmarked from his last year. I unfolded the paper, his handwriting steady despite age. "Families aren't always fair, Bethany. Some lift you, others weigh you down. Don't let their choices define yours. Proud of you always. Love, Grandpa Leonard." Reading it, memories flooded him, attending my early debates when parents couldn't, calling after Ella's birth to check on us both, his stories of building a life away from family drama. His last name, Curtis, felt like a lifeline, untarnished by the favoritism that tainted Clark. Tears blurred the ink, but clarity emerged. If I stayed tied to their name, I'd carry their dismissals forever. For Ella's sake, I needed to break that chain, show her strength in choosing better. Wiping my face, I booted up my laptop, searching legal name change process, Nevada. The steps appeared: straightforward petition form, filing fee, court date, public notice in a local paper. People did it for marriages or fresh starts. I'd do it to reclaim mine. I downloaded the form, filling in basics: first name, Bethany, last name, Curtis. My hands steadied as I typed the act, feeling like rewriting my story. This wasn't impulse. It was survival. A legacy for Ella, free from the shadows. Printing the documents, I gathered IDs and headed to the courthouse in downtown Reno before Ella woke. The clerk reviewed them, routinely stamped the packet, and handed back copies. "Court date in about a month," she said. Walking out, the weight lifted slightly, Curtis already echoing in my mind as the name I'd carry forward. The next morning, I mailed the certified letters from the post office in downtown Reno, each envelope addressed to Mom, Dad, and my brother. The clerk weighed them without comment, affixing stamps and handing back receipts. For me, it was the official severing notification that soon I'd legally be Bethany Curtis. The weight of the paperwork in my bag felt like a shield. As I walked back to my car, the Nevada sun already warming the pavement. Back home, Ella played with her dolls in the living room, humming a tune from her favorite show. I watched her for a minute, her innocence fueling my next step. To make the name change airtight, especially with a minor involved, I needed a witness who knew my history. That meant reaching out to Derek, Ella's father, and my ex from before law school. We'd split amicably when Ella was a baby, co-parenting from afar since he moved to Las Vegas for work. I hesitated, staring at his contact, but pushed through. I texted him, "Need a favor witness for legal name change. Can we talk?" His reply came quick, "Sure, call now." I dialed, putting him on speaker while folding laundry. "Hey Bethany, what's up?" His voice was neutral, familiar, a reminder of simpler times before everything got complicated. I laid it out plainly, the graduation snub, Dad choosing Vincent's barbecue over my JD ceremony, the years of feeling sidelined. I'm taking Grandpa Leonard's last name, Curtis. It's a clean break for me and Ella. Derek listened quietly, then responded, "That's heavy. I get it, your family's always favored Vincent. If this helps you move on, I'll witness. What do I need to do?" I explained the form, how he'd affirm my identity and reasons. "Just sign, notarize, and send back. It means a lot, shows Ella we can choose better paths." He agreed without pushing for details. "No problem. Email the docs, I'll handle it today." We shifted to Ella, him asking about her preschool art projects, me sharing how she drew a family picture last week that only included us two. "She's thriving," I said. "That's what matters." Ending the call, a sense of alliance washed over me. Derek wasn't perfect, but he respected my choices more than my own blood did. It bolstered my confidence, turning the name change from a solo act into something supported. My phone rang mid-afternoon, Vincent's name flashing. I answered, bracing for the storm. "Bethany, what the hell is this letter you're dropping Clark over a damn barbecue? Mom's freaking out, Dad's pissed you're trying to erase us." His words flew fast, laced with disbelief. I sat on the couch, Ella coloring nearby, keeping my voice even. "It's not erasure, Vincent. It's freedom. That barbecue wasn't a fluke, it's the pattern. My JD meant nothing next to your client schmoozing in sparks." He interrupted. "Pattern, we invited you, but you blow it up into this. Dad put hours into that grill for my partners. It's how I close deals. You're humiliating the family for attention." The accusation landed hard, but I pushed back. "Attention? You sent photos while I stood alone on stage. That's the humiliation, proving I'm always second." He laughed bitterly. "Second? We've helped you plenty loans for school babysitting, Ella. This tears everything apart." As he ranted, a text buzzed from Aunt Doris. "Vincent filled me in on your ridiculous plan. Don't be dramatic, names don't change who we are. Think of the hurt you're causing your parents." Her message amplified the pressure, her habit of meddling to fix things always tilting toward Vincent. I ignored the text, focusing on Vincent. "Hurt? Where was that concern when you all skipped my ceremony? This is for Ella. I won't let her grow up begging for scraps like I did." He snapped. "Leave her out of it. You're insane, Bethany." My reply came calm. "It's Curtis now, and I'm sane finally." I ended the call, adrenaline coursing through my veins, hands shaking but empowered. The rush wasn't fear. It was liberation, a high from standing firm. This confirmed the decision. Protecting Ella from that environment meant no half measures. Breathing deep, I opened the family Facebook group, the shared space for their curated memories. Using a temporary login from a mutual friend still connected, I found Vincent's album from the barbecue day. Pictures loaded grills, loaded with meat guests toasting drinks, dad and mom beaming amid the crowd in sparks. I added Marcia's photo of me at the Fountain Diploma High and revised the album caption to Wrong Priorities. It sat there, truth juxtaposed against their facade, visible to aunts, uncles, cousins. I logged out, deleted the access, pulse racing. The act felt bold, necessary, a public line drawn. Ella wandered over, crayon in hand. Mama, okay. I hugged her. Yes, sweetie, we're building something new. The adrenaline faded to quiet certainty, affirming this path shielded her from the bias that scarred me. The legal process took a few months. Court dates came and went in Reno's family law building, the judge reviewing my petition, with a nod to my reasons, personal growth, and family dynamics. Derek's notarized statement arrived on time, affirming my stability as Ella's mom. When the order came through, stamped and official, Bethany Curtis stared back from the paper. It felt like shedding old skin, but practical steps followed. Living as Clark had tied me to Reno's reminders, the same streets where family gatherings happened without me. I scoured job listings for law positions nearby, focusing on Carson City, just 30 minutes south. The drive would keep Ella's routine steady, close enough for Derek's occasional visits, but far from the Clark orbit. Applications went out to small firms handling family law and estates areas where my JD shone. Rejections piled up, first generic emails citing experience gaps. But one offer landed, associate at a modest practice in Carson City's downtown specializing in mediation. The partner interviewed me over video, noting my fresh perspective as a single mom. "We need that empathy here," she said. I signed the contract, salary modest, but benefits, solid health coverage for Ella, flexible hours. Packing the apartment became a purge. Boxes filled with law books, from school notes, from bar prep, photos that hurt to look at. Childhood snapshots showed Vincent Center frame me, cropped at edges. Birthdays with cakes angled toward him, my smile blurred. Even Ella's baby pictures mixed in family albums where I was afterthought. I sealed most in a bin, labeling it "past," and shoved it deep in storage. The move to Carson City happened over a weekend, Marcia helping load the U-Haul, while Derek took Ella for the day. Our new place was a 2-bedroom rental near the state capitol with a small yard for her to play. Unpacking, I set up her room, first stuffed animals on shelves, drawings pinned to walls. The distance from Reno felt symbolic, 30 minutes creating a buffer from the drama. At the firm, I dove into cases, divorces, custody battles, wills contesting family favoritism. Irony struck during one mediation where a sister fought for equal inheritance. "They always picked him?" she said. I nodded, drawing from my core without sharing. Nights with Ella asleep, loneliness crept in. The name Curtis empowered me, but isolation lingered. One evening, scrolling forums on toxic families, I stumbled on podcasts sharing similar stories. Voices, anonymous, raw, healing through words. Inspiration hit "Why Not Mine?" from a single mom's angle, exposing bias without names or locations. I downloaded free software, set up a mic in the closet for quiet, and recorded the first episode under Unnamed Legacy. Titled "When Milestones Become Afterthoughts." I recounted the graduation skip, framing it as systemic favoritism. Parents call it practical, kids call it pain. I said weaving in Ella's future as motivation. Uploading to a free platform, I shared links on support groups, expecting little. But listens ticked up 10, then 50. Comments poured. "This is my story. Thank you for voicing it." Episodes followed weekly, covering invisible siblings, golden children, the gaslighting of "don't be dramatic." From my view as a mom, I added layers: how it affects parenting choices, breaking cycles for the next generation. Virality came unexpectedly. One episode on skipped ceremonies got shared in a large online community for estranged adults. Downloads surged, thousands tuning in. Media sites reposted clips crediting Unnamed Legacy for raw insight. Then fallout hit. Vincent's business took a dive. His Reno-based consulting firm, relying on local networks, lost clients. Whispers spread. That podcast sounds like his family. Sponsors pulled back wary of association with neglect narratives. He messaged me furiously, "Your little hobby is tanking my deals." I didn't respond, but satisfaction mixed with pity. The exposure wasn't targeted, but truth had consequences. Support anchored me through it. Marcia called often. "You're brave. Ella will see that." Derek emailed. "Proud of how you're handling this. Let me know if legal stuff escalates." Their backing helped balance the chaos. Days at the firm demanded focused client meetings, court filings, while nights were podcast prep and bedtime stories for Ella. We established routines, park visits after work, her questions about why we moved, answered simply, "For a fresh start, sweetie." As listens climbed, I hired a virtual assistant anonymously to handle edits, freeing time for her. The podcast became therapy, turning pain into purpose, ensuring Ella grew in a world where her voice mattered first. 3 years later, my phone started ringing nonstop during a quiet afternoon in Carson City. Ella, now 5, colored at the kitchen table while I reviewed case files. The caller ID flashed Mom's name first. I let it go to voicemail, but curiosity won. Her message trembled. "Bethany, if this is still your number, that podcast is ruining us. People are talking Vincent's losing contracts left and right. Sponsors don't want ties to a family like ours. Is this payback?" Next came Dad's call, ignored then, his voicemail sharp. "Your little stories are costing us everything. Doris is shunned by relatives, community whispers in Reno about neglect. Call back, we need to fix this." Vincent texted, "Clients bailing because of your rants. Happy now." The messages piled up, not apologies, but accusations centered on their losses. Vincent's local deals crumbling as word spread in Nevada's tight business circles. Doris isolated at family events where cousins avoided her. No mention of my pain, just demands to stop. The pressure built, but I held firm. After a week of barrages, I agreed to meet at the Hub Cafe in Reno, neutral ground, with big windows and crowds to prevent scenes. I drove up that Saturday, Ella with Marcia for the day. Parking near the Capitol, I walked in, spotting them at a corner table. Mom looked worn, lines deeper around her eyes. Dad sat rigid, arms crossed. Vincent paced nearby, face flushed. Doris wasn't there, but her influence hung heavy. Mom stood, arms open for a hug. I stayed back. "Hi," I said coolly. "It's Bethany Curtis now." Dad's jaw tightened. We ordered coffees, awkwardly small talk, stilted like strangers. As the waiter left, Mom leaned in. "We're under fire. Since your podcast blew up, everything's falling apart. Vincent's firm lost 3 major clients, people saying they can't support a family that abandons their own." Dad added gruffly, "Doris hears it from cousins, no invites to gatherings." Reno's small rumors spread fast. Vincent glared. "My reputation's shot. Sponsors pulled because of your anonymous tales. You painted us as monsters over one day." I pulled out my phone, opening the family chat from graduation day. My message: "Became a lawyer today. You chose barbecue over it. Won't forget." Mom's reply: "We'll celebrate later. Don't make drama." Dad's voice note: "Overreacting again." I slid it across. "This is what I shared, facts, not fiction. You're upset because consequences hit." Dad's face reddened. "Mistakes happen. Doesn't mean you air dirty laundry online, destroying lives." I met his gaze. "Destroying you destroyed my trust, every skipped event. Now it's public, and you're feeling a sliver of what I did." Mom's eyes teared. "We supported you, tuition help, Ella's gifts. Proud in our way." I cut in. "Proud on your terms. Not showing up for high school awards, undergrad now, JD. Chose Vincent every time." Vincent snapped. "Jealous my work benefits everyone." I shook my head. "Not jealousy, reality. This ends here. For Ella, I won't let her see that favoritism." Mom reached out. "Fix this. Apologize publicly, will too." Dad nodded. "Your family. Come home." Their pleas rang hollow. Hearing family once would have broken me, but now it fueled rejection. No, I said firmly. I'm not coming back. Mom recoiled. You can't cut us off. We're your parents. Ella's grandparents. I replied steadily. Biologically, yes, but you opted out long ago. I accept it now. Vincent scoffed. Changing a name erases nothing. I pulled the court order from my bag copies of updated ID bar registration. This erases entitlement. Curtis is on my license, my office door, my life. Mom's hands shook, unfolding them, tears spotting the pages. So we're gone. I shook my head. I'm just stopping the erasure of me. Dad's voice rose, claiming normal families had issues that one event blew up too big. I interrupted. Not one lifetime. Your golden child always first. My JD proved even at my peak I wasn't worth the drive. Mom grabbed my wrist. We can mend. Public apology if needed. Don't toss family. I pulled back gently. Can't patch decay. For me, that means exiting the system where love costs nothing for you, but everything for me. I stood chair scraping. If asked about me, tell truth. Had a daughter who became first lawyer, chose barbecue over her graduation, called her dramatic. Only reached out when her story cost you status. Dad hissed. You'll regret this. I looked at him, spellbroken. Maybe, but I regret years chasing scraps more. Rather regret leaving than staying. Walking out into Reno's sunlight, selfish, felt like salvation. Texts flooded after anger, guilt, pleas, fading to silence. Through grapevine, I heard Vincent's firm, struggled contracts dried up in Nevada's interconnected scene. Doris faced shunning at reunions, community chatter in Reno labeling them neglectful. But my revenge wasn't their admission, it was my absence life, as Curtis unclaimed by them. Clients knew me as the lawyer who listened. Marcia and Derek became pillars, her for playdates, him for co-parenting advice. Ella thrived, asking once about old family. I explained simply, we choose who lifts us. Late nights reflecting on empty seats versus full barbecue, peace settled. Blood wasn't licensed to wound without fallout. The twist, I stopped equating family with obligation. When kin treat you, optional is loyalty, staying, or loving yourself by leaving.